Some of Hollywood's biggest stars made blockbuster hits and instantly wished they hadn't, from George Clooney admitting that Batman was a role he regrets more than he ever expected, to Megan Fox opening up on Transformers, spilling secrets fans never knew, and Robert Pattinson finally revealing why Twilight left him wishing for a do-over. These are the shocking celebrity regrets that no one saw coming. Let's start with the celebrities whose statements shook the internet. 1. Game of Thrones. The epic fantasy series that defined a generation ended with a finale that left even its stars shocked. Cast members who lived and breathed Westeros for nearly a decade openly expressed disappointment with how their beloved story concluded. Emilia Clarke, Peter Dinklage, and Kit Harington didn't hold back, sharing in interviews how they felt the ending didn't do justice to the world they'd built.
I know. Well, the way that I see it is that if whatever ending we were ever going to come up with, like they'd say they made us all hairdressers, everyone still would have been really upset because people joyfully didn't want it to end at all.
They spoke about their characters and the stories fans had followed for years, admitting it was hard to see arcs wrapped up so abruptly. The interviews of the cast echoed their frustrations, due to which debates exploded across social media, showing how deeply the finale impacted everyone. Despite disappointment, the stars remained grateful for the journey, the friendships formed, and the unforgettable moments shared on set. Even in regret, the legacy of Game of Thrones continues proving that not every ending needs to be perfect to remain legendary. And if you thought this was wild, wait until you see Batman Regrets. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it. Meanwhile, across this, 2. Dakota Johnson. Dakota Johnson sat down to promote Madame Web, but fans couldn't help noticing her cool, uninterested demeanor during the interview. When asked personal questions, she deflected with calm, short responses, making it clear she wasn't there to talk about Madame Web, sarcastically.
I don't know. I really am. Yesterday, my best friend told me that something that I had said was like on the internet again, and I just...
The host tried to probe deeper, asking about her approach to the role and behind-the-scenes experiences, but Dakota maintained a distant attitude and continued giving boring answers. Viewers quickly picked up on it. Her body language and tone suggested she was not focused on the movie. Fans flooded social media with reactions, teasing her dry humor and handling the awkward questions. It became clear that Dakota was not interested in her own work and literally regretted being a part of the worst movie. It looks like she did this character forcefully rather than playing the typical Hollywood hate game. Thus, the interview wasn't just about promotion. It became a subtle example of how actors don't like the roles they play, and their body language is enough to say it all. And you are not ready for the next celebrity regret. 3. George Clooney. George Clooney, the star who soared to fame. He was talking about the film passions that actors have and appreciating them. But then, Clooney called his Batman and Robin movie the worst and admitted that the role was a disaster. He said he was embarrassed in front of all comic book readers and his fans for destroying such a loving character, which he really regrets.
Let me just say that I actually thought I destroyed the franchise until they brought it back. Somebody else brought it back years later and changed it. But, I thought at the time this was going to be a very good career move. It wasn't.
Even a superstar can miscalculate, proving that not every blockbuster is a win, and sometimes the most famous role isn't the happiest. Clooney's honesty about regret makes his story relatable and shows that success is more than just popularity. And when you think you have seen enough, think again. 4. Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson became an international sensation with Twilight, a box office hit earning $3.3 billion. But he wasn't a fan of his own character. He openly admitted that if Edward Cullen weren't fictional, he'd be considered an axe murderer, and the character's formality felt awkward.
He's one of those guys who'd be like an axe murderer.
Pattinson struggled with the disconnect between fame and the role's quirks, like living forever, brooding constantly, and shooting people in the fictional sense. Despite the massive success, he found aspects of the character frustrating, saying the role wasn't something he connected with personally. Fans loved Edward, but Pattinson's candid reflections highlight the difference between box office gold and actor satisfaction. It's a reminder that a hit franchise doesn't always mean the role is enjoyable. And sometimes, the fame comes with the side of regret. Even iconic characters can leave their stars wishing they'd picked differently, showing that personal fulfillment often outweighs global success. However, this celebrity is totally unexpected. 5. Orlando Bloom. Orlando Bloom rose to fame with Troy, but behind the epic battles and plot, he had mixed feelings about playing Paris. He admitted he didn't want to play a royal character, and that taking the role felt like a knife at his neck. Despite the film's success and audience love, Bloom joked in interviews that he wished he could erase the movie from his memory.
Wow. I think I just blanked that movie out of my brain. Am I gonna get any of these right? Because I have this whole window of time where I just cut everything.
He reflected on coming to agent talks reluctantly, knowing the role didn't excite him, yet ultimately agreeing for career reasons. It shows even in a blockbuster, not every role brings joy. Sometimes fame comes at the cost of regret. Fans still celebrate the romance and drama, but Orlando's story shows that actors are human too, and career choices aren't always as golden as they seem. Hollywood seems normal until you watch this. 6. Jennette McCurdy. Jennette McCurdy made her mark in early TV roles but not fill her with pride because she never wanted to pursue this career dream. She admitted that some roles, especially her early ones, left her feeling unfulfilled and even embarrassed. McCurdy shared that while these roles gave her exposure, they didn't align with who she wanted to be. She laughs nervously when recalling certain characters, showing the lasting impact of roles that didn't resonate.
I resent my career in a lot of ways. I think I feel so unfulfilled by the roles that I played and felt like it was the most just cheesy, embarrassing.
Her candidness about embarrassment reminds us that fame doesn't erase discomfort, and actors often carry private regrets about their work. Jennette's journey highlights how early missteps can shape a performer's career, even if some roles are hard to watch again. If you are a Deadpool lover, it might break your heart. 7. Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds made Deadpool a global sensation, but not every moment on set was smooth sailing. He admitted that some changes to the script created a version he didn't fully like, saying certain edits felt wrong for the character. Despite the glitches, he pushed through midway through filming, and he realized he couldn't just do it, even if he agreed with the changes. He shared that balancing personal vision with studio demands was very challenging, and that not every creative decision went the way he hoped.
Yeah, I was already attached to the Deadpool movie. We hadn't at that point written the script yet, but that came along, and it was sort of like play Deadpool in this movie, or we'll get someone else to.
Even when a role is criticized by audiences, the actor's experience can be complicated, full of compromises and hard decisions. Deadpool's success is undeniable, but Reynolds' story reminds us that even the most celebrated films aren't without on-set regrets, and coming one is totally unexpected. 8. Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt was thrust into the whimsical world of Gulliver's Travels, but it wasn't her first choice. She revealed that a contract from an earlier film forced her to accept the role, despite personal reservations. But she did because she really valued her contracts and decisions.
No. I actually do want to clean up the story on Gulliver's Travels. I was contracted to do Gulliver's Travels. I didn't want to do Gulliver's Travels. It was a bit of a heartbreaker for me because I take such pride in the decisions that I make.
Behind the cameras, she joked and reflected on wishing she had the freedom to say no, showing the realities of Hollywood obligations. Fans may remember the adventure in comedy, but for Blunt, the experience was more about professional duty than creative passion. It's a reminder that even celebrated actors sometimes take roles they don't love, honoring contracts over personal preference. Outro. Hollywood looks perfect on the outside, but behind the scenes, even the stars wish they could rewrite their past. Stars regret roles, fans regret endings, and we're just here watching the chaos. If you want more iconic Hollywood regrets, tap subscribe, press the bell icon, hit the like, and comment on who I should cover next.